process. So today, as part of our Fulbright series, we have 4 Fulbrighters, and this is the first time I'm hosting a session with 4 Fulbrighters. So thank you. So today's session is with 4 Fulbrighters. They are all from University of Maryland, 2018's batch. We have Mansoor Ahmed, Masters in Architecture. We have Mohammad Salman, Masters in Engineering Robotics. We have Mariam Zia, Masters of Science in Applied Economics. We have Mohammad Basit Ghauri, Masters in Engineering Energy Systems. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for taking out your precious time and talking to students about your respective program and your university. So without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Basit. Basit, over to you. Thank you so much again, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. I can share my screen right now.
Yeah, you can share your screen, I guess.
I think you have to give me permission.
Let me make you the co-host, and now you can share the screen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, you can see it right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you first of all USEFP to give us this opportunity to actually share our experience. So starting off, we are all from the University of Maryland. So just a little bit about myself. So I've done my master's in energy systems engineering from Fulbright in 2018 batch. I did it from University of Maryland. Did my bachelor's from NUST in environmental engineering. I'm also an ASEP, Associate System Engineering Professional, certified by Internships. And one of my key experience while living in US was also the Environmental Defense Fund, which I will actually share it in a bit. So that's me on your left. I just love dogs, so I wanted to put it there. So anyhow, starting off from my Fulbright journey. So I just wanted to give a heads up to all the people who actually want to go for the Fulbright. So the most biggest essence part of the Fulbright is actually the kind of networks and connections you make through it. And I was lucky enough to actually start up those connections before even starting my journey there in US. So we had like the whole batch meeting up for pre-departure orientation, and we also even went for like, you know, visits, site visits and all that, all friends together and getting together and knowing each other before even starting our journey there in the US. So starting off from there, we arrived in the US and we actually had our orientation ceremony in Wisconsin. So that's actually one of the key things that comes with the Fulbright, I would say, is basically the kind of experience and enrichment seminars and the things you get. So one of those is actually the orientation that you go and meet all the Fulbrighters there, and you get to know about the culture there. So it's usually different for each state. For us, each year, for us it was in Wisconsin. So we went to the city hall and all those things and learned more about that place. So moving onwards, in the Fulbright, one of our key points and key experience was actually the enrichment seminar. So for what Fulbright does is basically it gives you an experience of bringing together all the international Fulbrighters together, not just from the Pakistan. So we had this one enrichment seminar on entrepreneurship, where we had international Fulbrighters from over 70 countries coming together under one roof. And the kind of experience you get, and you get to talk to people from different places, that's just mind-boggling. And that was one of the richest experience there. We had like the VCs and other people getting together and giving us and sharing their experience with us. Going forward, we were also, just like today, we are talking to prospective students. We were also invited for the panelists for the incoming Fulbrighters in 2019 in Kansas State. So that was also one of our key experience that day. So just a little bit about the University of Maryland, then I'll dwell into the actual program of the energy systems. So that's basically 19 to 3. You can see our state mascot actually. So starting off from the University of Maryland, it's actually the flagship state of University of Maryland. So it's a state of Maryland. And the good point about it is actually the one thing that I enjoyed most is actually it's being near the Washington, D.C. So the kind of network opportunities you get into the DC area, that's just like an added advantages for being there at the UMP, and that's go turf for our mascot. That's basically a diamond-backed turtle. So joining into the energy systems part of it. So basically, my course was actually a 30 credit hours program. It could have been completed earlier, but generally it takes about 2 years to complete it, 9 credit hours per semester, and for the last semester, you can take up to 3 credit hours. For the energy systems and the engineering courses, since it was master's in engineering, the more focused courses were more focused towards the technical side of it. So if you can read it, you can actually see that they're more technical oriented. However, so the good thing about University of Maryland and the engineering, the graduate school from where I was, we had a lot of flexibility. So not that we only have things, the subjects to choose from our core courses and the flexible elective courses. We actually had, an informal way of, taking courses that were not even in our degree planning sheet. And I actually took 2 of those courses. We have to go through an approval process for that and have to discuss it with the Fulbright also. But if you are able to show the alignment of any other course with your degree program, you can actually talk to your advisor regarding that. And I ended up doing that. And the positive thing that came for me was I did not only I did my master's in engineering and energy systems, which I was supposed to do, and for which you are looking at the planning sheet. I also did my graduate certificate in energy systems management and policy, because we had like most of the courses that were actually in common. So I ended up taking up 2 or more courses from that side. I added to my degree program, and I had my policy certificate along with my master's degree. So I think that was one of the biggest pro side of the graduate school.
Basit, may I interrupt you for a second? Basit, a lot of students cannot hear you properly. So can you adjust your microphone?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try to remove them. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I think this is better.
Okay, just giving it a brief overview of the energy systems part, because I think this is important. It hasn't gone through, didn't understand me earlier. So it's basically a 30 credit hour program. It's supposed to be completed in 2 years, but you can do it earlier. The biggest pro that you get with the graduate school at the University of Maryland is a lot of flexibility in how you plan your degree planning sheet. So I ended up, adding a couple of courses to my elective courses from the outside my planning sheet. Similarly, I changed a little bit of my core courses. I got it pre-approved from the Fulbright and as well as from the my advisor. But once you have the ability to do that, so that's actually the pro of the energy systems and the graduate school there at University of Maryland. So coming up. Next experience, one thing that I always say to people, having their degree programs is not just to focus on your degree. There's a lot of networking opportunities and professional organizations that you should be part of. And I was part of this Association of Energy Engineers at the University of Maryland. We ended up, having many events. We ended up having calling DOE, Department of Energy, there at university to further prospective seminars. But the biggest pro that I had was actually I was able to do a lot of networking with the people in the industry through this association. So that's one takeaway for me is to, as soon as you go there, try to find out all the professional networks where you can, take part in as a conferences, workshops, and sometimes you even get internship opportunities from there. So I personally had a different internship opportunity, but I know a lot of people who actually got their work and job opportunities from professional network platform through this association. So this is my internship experience, you can say. So I was lucky enough to actually have two cohorts. So one was Fulbright cohort and the other was Environmental Defense Fund. So it's a basically environmental advocacy group that actually take about 100 graduate students from all over the US, set them up and train them and send them all over in different companies, public and private sector, all over the US to actually work on their energy and sustainability programs. So they have about 450 organizations up till now from 2010, and they have saved up to $1.6 billion in energy savings. So that was one of my key experiences there while in the professional setting while being there in the US. Lastly, just covering that up, cultural exchange is actually the essence of what Fulbright offers. And even if you go as a Fulbrighter or anything else, that's the main key thing that you should take away. So we had a lot of barbecues at our place and we used to live together. And this is a curry place. Most probably you will get to know about our house at the end of this presentation. But we had invited all the international Fulbrighters and more people to our place to, just for a gathering and show them Pakistani cuisines and all that. So that was the best part of it. And lastly, traveling. So I love traveling and I traveled a lot. I would say, I guess more than 20 states. So that's something that most probably it's very difficult to arrange. Otherwise, if with Fulbright, you're comfortable enough that you can actually, move around and get the full essence of United States and actually travel around. So just coming towards post-degree life, there are a lot of people who wonder, okay, I'm going to complete my degree after Fulbright, I'm going to return, and then what is it that, one should look for? So firstly, you don't have to wait for an opportunity. You have to make one. That's what I say to most of the people. So, Fulbright gives you so much kind of a rich experience and that you actually believe in yourself. So you don't actually have to sit and wait for, I'm gonna go for a job or something like that. I mean, that's a real thing that you look for the opportunities, but instead, whatever you learn, just come here, reach out to the Fulbright network that you have, the seniors and everyone, and, you make an opportunity, come up with an idea and start executing it. And focus on the professional networking, reach out, that's the must. You'll hear it from everyone. And one thing that I do say is that before you come up, do set your goals. I would say that, you already have goals when you're going for a Fulbright and everything, but I would always mention that, they do kind of a change a little bit that when you are coming, thinking of coming back and returning and, working somewhere. So you need to actually have something in mind, okay, what kind of exact industry that I'm working for, I'm going to work for, or what is it actually that I want to do. So those are some of the key takeaways that I have. And, I think thank you so much, and I will forward it off to you. So yeah, that's it from my side. I think Mansoor can continue from here.
Yeah, thank you, Basit, for this lovely presentation. So I'll try and share my screen so that everybody can see it. I need permission to share my screen. Yeah.
I just made you the co-host.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Okay, thank you. I hope everybody can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm Mansoor. I did my Master's of Architecture from the University of Maryland, along with a certification in urban design. Just like Basit mentioned, that we could weave in some specialized courses into our program to allow us to do a certification in a specific field. So that's what I did. Currently, I am leading Sarbuland Consultants, which is an architectural design firm in Lahore. So I'm sort of the chief architect here, and we do all sorts of design. What I've learned in my master's program has really, helped me in practicing architecture in Pakistan as well. So moving forward, I'm going to talk about the program itself. When people are, as I was applying for the master's in architecture, there's sort of this confusion about what is a professional program and what is a non-professional program. So generally in the US, professional programs are MArch 1 and non-professionals are MArch 2. People who are from the architecture background generally have a professional degree so in Pakistan, our degrees are generally accredited by PCAT-P. So the equivalent of PCAT-P is NCARB in the US. So any degree that's accredited by NCARB is a licensed program. So by graduating from a professional program, you can become a professional architect. But if you have already done a professional degree like we do in Pakistan, you don't generally need to go for a professional program for masters. You could do a non-professional degree as well. So just to clarify, the PCAT-P equivalent of the US is NCARB, and AIA, which is the American Institute of Architects, the equivalent of that is the Institute of Architects of Pakistan. So these are sort of some things that you should look for when you're researching degree programs. The MAC program that I did at University of Maryland was a professional program. So it was a Path A degree. There are two paths that are available in the University of Maryland. Path A is for people who already have a background in architecture. Path B is for people who just sort of coming into the master's program without any prior architectural background. My degree was a 2-year program, which was an expedited kind of program because I had a background in architecture. I did 60 credits. That was the requirement of the degree. The degree was generally design focused. The University of Maryland curriculum is designed to give students a sort of holistic understanding of different aspects of the architectural sort of education, which means that we looked at historical preservation, we studied technology, we studied, professional practice of architecture, we studied sustainability. So there were different realms of architecture all sort of capped into one degree program. And then the best part about University of Maryland was that the integration of practitioners, like professional architects practicing in the area. They were invited to be part of the degree program as well, as you'll see in some of the pictures that I'll share. This is the University of Maryland grade space, which is the central atrium in the building. This is where all of our juries, as we call them, or where we present our projects, this is where that would take place. These are some of the sort of pictures of discussions happening. This was a project that we did with students in Iraq. So the University of Baghdad collaborated with the University of Maryland. So we had a site in Baghdad where we were sort of employed or working alongside this office, Gensler, which is one of the world's top leading architectural practices. So these juries or discussions that we'd go down to Washington, DC and sit in Gensler office to discuss these projects. So this is just sort of to give you an overview of the process of education is not so dissimilar from what we have in Pakistan. So, I mean, as you'd see, this is one of the studio classrooms that we had. We have got our models on place, and then sort of our group team is having discussions where we've pinned up projects on the walls and just talking through ideas. So, this is another picture of similar thing happening. So this is just to give you an idea that, the education system, although the ideas that we were discussing or the manner in which the discussions were being held were somewhat different, but the processes were almost the same. So this is, again, us working alongside practicing architects in the area. So after having discussions with our professors, we take our project out to offices and, people who are doing real life projects and talk to them about how we can, improve what we're doing. So this was our sort of studio classroom, Bridging the Gap Studio, where the project that I talked about in Iraq was done by this team. And then the project was later on awarded as the Studio Prize for being one of the most innovative and collaborative studios in the region. So this is also something, exciting about a master's degree in the US, where collaboration and exchange of ideas are highly encouraged. These are some of the pictures from real life projects that I had the opportunity to work on. Through the Fulbright program, I was allowed to do internships during my off time in summer breaks. So I had the opportunity to work, on these residential projects. And this was also an exciting experience to go on site, see a completely different method of construction, see, talk to contractors and all of that stuff. So that also tied in back into my education in the university, where seeing things on site really made me well informed while I was designing my projects. Then moving on, apart from the education, this of, as Basit mentioned, of all the places that we were lucky enough to see and visit. Just some images of all the landmarks and fun people that we met, the experiences that we had. There's a wide landscape, wide variety of experiences to be had. And I encourage anybody who ends up going for a master's education in the US to really go out, spare some time to travel and explore. It really has an impact on your development. So these are just some images of the places that we went to. And then talking about the Fulbright experience, where the Fulbright program itself allows students to interact with one another. And this sort of, in the picture, you can see, I guess, around 10, 12 different nationalities of students from around the globe that have come on the Fulbright program. And, we had this seminar where we did group activities and talked about ideas. So this sort of exchange is something very appreciable about the Fulbright program. And then one more thing that I think really left an impact on me is taking care of myself in the house. So this is some of the cooking that we used to do for each other and for guests that would come over. So, as you can see, it's all variety of desi food that we shared with our US fellows and with one another as well. So life lessons to be learned at the end of the experience. This is, just off the top of my head, that you need to think big, dream big. Go out there and imagine. Don't be afraid to take risks. Network and connect with people. The relationships that I've made while I was there are the reason that all of these opportunities opened up, and talking to people and exchanging ideas is what really encouraged my development as well. So there's always something to be learned, and always be open to learning new things from, you never know where an idea can come from. So this is something, these are a few lessons that I'd like anybody who's listening in to absorb and to take with them when they go on their program. Thank you.
Okay, you can keep sharing the screen. First slide.
Yeah, I'll be your driver, so you can just tell me when you.
Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Mariam Zia, and I also studied at University of Maryland, and I did my Master's of Science in Applied Economics, which is a professional program. And before going for my Master's in Applied Economics, I did my MSc Economics from Lahore University of Management Sciences. And currently I work with World Bank as a research analyst in their poverty and equity unit. Next slide, please. So here I would be talking about the program, why one should choose a Master of Science in Applied Economics. There are two types of degrees in economics. One is MSc Economics and the other one is Applied Economics. The students who do not want to do a PhD in economics and who do not want to be researchers or academics in their life, they choose to do Applied Economics because it is more towards empirical side and they make you learn the things which would help you on a job. So they prepare you basically for a job rather than for future studies or a future PhD program. That's why they make you work on softwares like Stata, and they know about the job market and they prepare you according to that. It is a 30 credit hours program. It consists of 5 core courses and 5 electives. 5 core courses are basic economics courses because some students who join this program are not from economics background. They just switch from other fields. That's why the 5 core courses are included to prepare everyone and bring everyone at the same level. That's why there are 5 core courses. After 5 core courses, you can choose your electives. And in this program, you can choose all your courses within the economics department. So you're not allowed to go and choose courses outside economics department. The good thing about this program is that it doesn't require a GRE, because it doesn't require very strong mathematics skills. It is more for professionals who want to increase their job market skills. So if you're looking for a program which could prepare you for a job market and be an economist and apply for analyst positions, then I think this program could be a good fit for you. Apart from the program, while I was there in the summer, as Mansoor and Basit mentioned, they did their internships and they were allowed to work outside. I also applied, and as UMD is very close to Washington, DC, so I went to few programs and I met people from World Bank and other organizations. So I was able to get an internship in World Bank, and later they translated into a job, and currently I work there. If you are a social science student or if you're interested in economics, I think UMD is a good place because it is very close to DC, and DC has all the social science organizations like think tanks and international organizations like World Bank and IMF. So you can easily connect with people and avail different opportunities in the summer. Apart from that, as everyone said, that UMD is the biggest state school in state of Maryland. And while you are on Fulbright, you can travel, you get to meet new people. And in my case, I was living with an Indian roommate. In Pakistan, usually we do not get to meet a lot of Indians, but over there, you meet plenty of Indians and you get to interact with them. So it was also a good experience to live with someone who is not from my country. And we both went to the same program, and there was a nice experience. I think this is all from my part. Now, I think over to you, Salman.
Mansoor, do you mind continuing, or you can give the control back to me?
I don't mind. I mean, whichever is easier. That's fine.
I think give the if possible,
Okay.
can give the
Yeah,
control.
yeah.
I think I would need the permission, right? So yes. So yeah, my name is Mohammed Salman. I've also done my Master's of Engineering in Robotics from the University of Maryland with all these guys. And prior to that, I did my Bachelor's in Mechanical Engineering from LUST. I'll give my program and Basit's programs are relatively similar because both of our degrees are Masters in Engineering. It's just that you may say that the major or the specialization was different. So the structure is relatively similar of the degree. So again, you need in Masters of Engineering in Robotics, you need 10 courses to graduate. So it's equivalent to 30 credits. It's a coursework-based professional master's. And so that's why you don't really need a thesis to graduate. But you also don't need to complete a degree project or a capstone project. The courses are the only thing that you need to complete in order to graduate. But this also means that since there is no thesis or any like degree project that you need to do, you can kind of freestyle in this program in terms of like applying for various summer internships, or if you're interested in research, that's also a possibility because you could become a part of a lab or a research group or a student competition team and develop some research skills or applied practical skills. And yeah, generally, like it's a good program if you're interested in applied robotics and learning about stuff related to this field. So let's start by talking a bit about how you can apply for internships. So I think the first thing that I was surprised by, there are career fairs in the university, but they're like in the start of your semesters. So like if your semester starts from August or September, within 3 to 4 weeks or 5 weeks, there will be a career fair. So that kind of surprised me, to be honest. But yeah, so this is how the structure of the career fairs are. And I would definitely encourage you to kind of visit these career fairs. The only like the caveat is that most opportunities aren't available for international students because of like visa requirements and things of that nature. But still, like there can be some good opportunities, and maybe you might impress a company representative with your profile and everything, and that way you can sort of have a good contact, and you can get an internship that way as well. But generally, like career fairs is one way. There are many other ways, like visiting websites like LinkedIn or Indeed or Monster. These websites can be really useful because you can get a wide variety of different internship opportunities from like the big companies, but as well as from startups. And both can be equally useful opportunities to apply for. Apart from that, some universities, I think universities generally have their own career portal as well, which you can look for other jobs that are maybe not available on like public websites like LinkedIn or something. So maybe like your university has a particular connection with any industry, or a university alumni might be looking for employees for their startup or company. So university's career portal can really help you out in that regard. However, and yeah, definitely utilize your university's career guidance office. I think that's a norm, and every university has this. And even if you think you might know how to like do like how to make your CV or apply to companies or startups, it's still a good idea to visit these career offices, because like even if you learn one thing by going there, I think that's time well spent basically. So yeah, definitely I would highly suggest you to visit these offices. They usually have services like critiquing your resume and pointing you in the right direction when you are applying for internships and stuff. But the key thing that I think most of us know, but people like me who end up procrastinating or being lazy, I guess I should mention it. Definitely start early, because starting early, like as I said, most of us know if you start early, you'll avoid stress, you'll avoid panic in general, and also you'll have more options to choose from. So especially if you apply early, you can like apply to many places, and by applying to many places, I don't mean like 15 or 20 companies. I mean like 80 and hundreds of companies. And it may sound like I'm exaggerating, but I would definitely suggest applying, like overshooting in terms of applying to more companies rather than undershooting, because generally the competition is relatively fierce. And as I mentioned, that there are a lot of opportunities for which international students are generally not eligible. So it always helps if you have a lot of options on the table. And yeah, so that's for summer internships. Start early, apply to a billion places, and hopefully, you'll find the right work environment for you. Apart from that, yeah, one other thing I mentioned was becoming a part of research groups and student competition teams, and like even societies like Basit mentioned about his experience as well. So the thing with the Masters of Engineering program is that the only condition to graduate is that if you successfully complete your 10 courses. But the problem is, in my opinion, that it's just completing your courses means that you're relatively approaching your degree one-dimensionally. And so it always helps if you can do stuff like like I mentioned before, summer internships and becoming part of research groups and student teams. Because outside of classroom learning, these opportunities help you to see how stuff happens in the real world. And because robotics is such an applied field, real world experience is definitely necessary in that regard. So yeah, join a research group and a student competition team. You can apply early. You can like contact research groups or student competition teams early, and by early I mean you can be as early as before your program even starts. So like maybe in July or August, once you have your visa and everything and you're planning to leave, maybe at that time you might want to contact, or even like after during your first semester, you can contact them. But the thing is that because it's master's and it's a 2-year program, it's not like bachelor's, like you have 4 years and you can like wait around for stuff to happen. You generally have to be proactive in a 2-year degree. And that is why I would generally advise that if it's possible, become a part of a research group or start working on some competition or teams by the end of first semester, because at least that way you still have like 2-3 semesters ahead of you to uh, learn about how to build robots and how to like incorporate different algorithms or working with sensors, all that practical stuff. So yes, contact as early as possible. And yeah, generally speaking, this applies especially in case of those students who are making a transition from a different field into robotics, like I did. So I made my transition from mechanical engineering to robotics, and in mechanical engineering there weren't a whole lot of different robotics courses. It was mainly just conventional mechanical engineering stuff. So if you're transitioning into robotics, generally expect that you will know less. Especially when you become a part of these research groups and teams, you will feel that these guys know a lot more, but it's fine. That's just how it is. But the thing that will count for you and for them for like keeping you in their team is you will be excited and you will be willing to learn a lot of new things. And that's what's key. And that's also if you can start early, you will have a lot of time to learn a lot of different things. So yeah, I think that's about it for the lab and research work, and in general, focus on skill development. Uh, so um, so like let's say if things didn't go well and there were some hiccups during your degree program, or God forbid there were some issues, and you didn't get time to apply for internships or become a part of a research group or something of that nature, still there are opportunities available. Like for example, if you're late to apply to an internship at a company or a startup, or if you aren't, or if you did start early but you didn't get into any, do look into research again. Like do look at, for the purposes of an internship, do look at professors and labs that are within your own university, and try contacting them, see if they have like a 2-3 month project or a small project for which they would be interested in hiring you, or even like yeah, for hiring you. And like that could be a good way to like build on your experiences. So like I kind of fall in this category as well, and during that time with the professor in his lab, I got to experience with a real world robot, and like trying to get the sensors to work and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely, like even if you think that you missed opportunities, don't worry, because you can always do self-learning and self-study in order to learn new things and just be productive overall. And apart from that, yeah, just be in the right mindset before you leave for your program. As I said, so generally like 10 courses, and you have 10 courses to complete, and it's like 3 courses every semester with the exception of the last one. So you may think that it's easy, but at least in my experience, robotics courses are not easy. They're really hard, especially like if you become enthusiastic and pick an advanced course. And like even if you're transitioning from one field to another, some of the core courses can also be like mind-boggling at times. But the key is just to like work hard, and if you have any trouble, like contact the professor of that course, reach out to TAs, and more importantly, like reach out to your peers. Like group study can be really helpful in these situations. And yeah, so like be prepared to deal with working hard. um, Especially since probably hopefully you'll also be a part of a lab or student competition team. And don't feel afraid or shy to ask for help. As I said, just reach out to different people, reach out to even your advisors, and try to find a solution to a problem. But as I said, it's the right mindset, and it's not just about working hard. It's about like treating your mind and body to some fun and games. Remember to become a child every now and then, because you need to keep yourself in good physical and mental shape, so that you can actually like work hard and deal with all the stress or anxiety that hopefully doesn't come your way. But if it does, you need to keep yourself physically and mentally well. And yeah, like Basit and Mansoor and Mariam like mentioned, like it's a Fulbright experience. Visit new places, new cities, new events. Um, yeah, Fulbright really helps you provide those opportunities by its own self. Like there are enrichment seminars, and you definitely would want to attend those. But apart from that, like you can be proactive and like visit any popular cities, or like make a bucket list before coming in, like these guys did, and make sure you visit them before your 2 years are up. But yeah, like set up a feedback system for yourself. That's the last thing. I guess for all the engineers, like to be more specific, set up a negative feedback closed loop control system. And generally what I mean is just set up an accountability system that you may have some targets and goals and plans that you may have before entering this program. So like once every like 3-4 weeks, reflect on those goals and plans and make sure you're on the right track. If you're not, make sure you see what went wrong and sort of like adjust your trajectory. But yeah, your goals can shrink and expand over time, depending on how comfortable you feel, how difficult your workload is. So that's fine, but make sure you're always, most of the time you're being productive and you're like either making advancements in your education, or you're visiting new cities and events and socializing, meeting new people, networking. So yeah, time flies by real fast. So it's just 2 years. It's not a whole lot, trust me, especially since most of us have done our bachelor's, and 4 years, we sort of tend to relax a lot. But yeah, 2 years flies by real fast. So yeah, but that's my part. And this is Curry Place, as Basit had mentioned before. I think he can more accurately talk on this topic, either Basit or Mansoor. So I'll pass over the floor to them, either of them, whoever is interested in talking about it.
I think that's enough. This just the four of us, we actually had this place known as Curry Place. We actually called upon a lot of international food writers and even the local people from there from the different backgrounds to just come together and have game nights and have some group study or things like that. So I do believe in when it comes to Fulbright, the cultural exchange, that's actually the most essential part of it. So I guess, yeah, that's it from